Hello and welcome to Get the Boots, the podcast about grabbing opportunities, overcoming challenges, and saying yes to your story. With me, your host, Stephanie. I'm a 2-time expat, having left my home country of Germany in my 20s to move to the UK and then to the United States. First to California, then Texas, then back to England, back to Texas, and I'm currently based in New Jersey. I've written about all of this in my memoir, Transcontinental Overload, which is widely available in English, and German version is coming this summer, fingers crossed. My guest today is another international person, Dominique, a global purpose coach and business mentor with a mission to help accompanying spouses, diplomats, and expats in life and career transitions, rediscovering their purpose for a meaningful life abroad, including building portable businesses. She is the author of Live Your New Story, is active as a global keynote speaker, and she's also a founding member of the Expat Woman membership and the founder of the Women's Entrepreneurial Core Academy. Dom is a 6-time expat. She was brought up in the US as a first-generation Filipina American and has lived in Costa Rica, Venezuela, Peru, Indonesia, South Korea, Australia, and is currently in the US, but not for long. She'll soon be moving to Fiji with her wife and 3 daughters. In our conversation today, we talk about identity, and we really dig deep into what happens when you're a trailing spouse and a mother and an entrepreneur all at the same time, and how hard we are on ourselves. And we talk about the importance, and Dom is really vocal about this, the importance of celebrating our successes, especially the ones that have nothing to do with our careers, and why and how living in another country can really bring out a special kind of strength in ourselves. Let's listen to Dom's story. Welcome to Get the Boots, Dominique. Do you prefer Dom or Dominique?
Dom is good.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's lovely to have you here today. We had a really lovely chat the other day. Yeah. And I almost feel like we should have just hit record and recorded it all, because sometimes those conversations, do you have that? Sometimes you talk to someone and you're like, oh my God, I wish I could bring in some more people into this because it's just fun.
It's so, yes, it happens all the time. And I'm like, all the conversations I have just need to be podcast episodes because there's so many gems, and it's just, yeah. So it happens to me all the time, even in real life. And I'm like, that should be a podcast episode.
I know. I wish I had recorded this. Yeah. But maybe that's what comes when you do lots of podcasts and you just feel like, and also do you listen to a lot of podcasts?
I'm not as much as before. I've kind of like told myself, I'm gonna like, what is it? Like curate my mind and, all the media that I listen to just to create more space for myself. Cause there was definitely a time that I was constantly learning and learning, but it was too much. Mm-hmm. So I just didn't stop, and I didn't know when to stop. Cause I'm like, oh, it means I'm learning, so I should take in more. But
yes.
So I'm being more mindful and more selective and strategic about what I listen to, and also the season and state that I'm in. I think that really matters as well.
I absolutely hear you. I did listen to a lot of, obviously, because before starting my own podcast, I listened to a lot of podcasts just, so that's how I got into it. That's what kind of, and also that's a podcast. That's what dragged me back from like depression and feeling really low, and they helped me so much, and I was like, oh, I want to create one. And then I listened to a lot just to learn, like, how do you actually do this? Mm-hmm. What are good questions? And then you steal bits from here and there, and then it takes up a lot of space and time, like you said, and then you kind of get a little bit oversaturated, and then you lose what is my own approach. What am I being authentic, or am I just copying? Am I just trying to emulate what other people are doing? And then you kind of lose that. And that's what I'm all about, the authenticity part, and the the conversations that are just not scripted. And so I feel you. And I've done the same. I've kind of cut right back And sometimes I feel like, oh no, I want to listen to all this stuff, but there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, exactly. I know if I could just listen all day long, I would, but I know, yeah, I've learned my lesson.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to be talking about your life today. This sounds very grand, but as someone who's lived in so many countries, there are a lot of stories and a red thread that runs through them. And so I don't even know where to start with you, really. So today you're calling from my time
Virginia.
zone.
Yes, Virginia. I'm in the United States.
Yeah, let's jump back to the beginning and just tell us a little bit, maybe who you are and then how it all began.
Yeah. Oh, this is so. Oh, go back all the way to the beginning. So many years.
No
So
pressure.
no pressure. My name is Dom, and I've been a global person since my early 20s. Currently I do purpose coaching and business mentorship for trailing spouses, diplomats, and expats. But in the beginning of my life, my adult life, I started out as a Peace Corps volunteer in Costa Rica. That was my first international stint. 27 months in rural Costa Rica, a place called Piedra Pintada with 700 people. And that's how I learned about being abroad and being overseas and what it's really like to, what's the word? To immerse yourself in a completely different culture and environment. So, and my background is I'm Filipino American, first generation. So, never lived in a Spanish speaking country, so had to learn Spanish, had to learn Costa Rican Spanish because every country has its own, its own terms.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was the first time that I was away from home, and I was a young 22-year-old and just having the time of my life. And what I loved about that experience was that it really built my character. I don't think any other experience could have matched that, other than going to another country that was 10 times more difficult than Costa Rica. Like Costa Rica is definitely one of the easier countries compared to all the other Peace Corps volunteers out there. I know they're totally saying Posh Corps right now. I can hear them saying it. That's not really considered Peace Corps. I'm like, I still wasn't with my parents, and I still was like 6 hours away from the big cities. So
Yeah. And I always feel, and I always say this, if every young person had the opportunity to go to another country, another culture, ideally another language, for maybe at least 6 months, 12 months, it would make such a difference in our society. I think it's this fending for yourself.
yeah,
And even if it's not even if the culture is similar. I went to the UK from Germany, so you wouldn't think that's wildly different, but there are a lot of things that are different. And your observational skills, all your kind of you're making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, and the reaction and learning all that sort of, it's so character building. Yeah. So totally.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So what made you join the Peace Corps? What did you do at school? So you had just graduated,
So I
I
just
take it.
graduated. So I went to UCLA for my undergrad, and I studied women's studies and
Mhm.
communication. And I thought that I would work somewhere in Hollywood, right? Like every kid that's in LA, like we're gonna do the whole Hollywood thing. And 9/11 happened before I started college. So there was like a part of me that wanted to serve. Like I always knew like I want to serve my country. Um, and back in 10th grade, I saw one of my friends' brother's wife, she had a picture on her wall, and I was like, this does not look like America. And she's from America, Caucasian American. And I said, like, oh, where were you? She's like, I was in the Philippines. I'm like, oh, what were you doing in the Philippines? And she's like, oh, I was a Peace Corps volunteer. I'm like, oh, what's that? And
Yeah.
so like that one moment, like I could really, I still remember it. It created a curiosity in me. Like, oh,
Mhm.
what would it be like? Oh, here's this person that's not Filipino that went to the Philippines, that lived there for 27 months. I'm like, how's that possible? Like, is that a thing? And I think I like took that memory with me. I kind of like locked it behind my brain when I was in college. But when the Peace Corps tables were out and they were recruiting, I was like, oh, let me go. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the Peace Corps. Let me go to an info session. And then one thing led to another. And I had it in my mind that I wanted to be a Peace Corps volunteer. I didn't go directly after college. I actually worked for the State Department for about a year and a half as a passport
Mhm.
specialist in consular. So I had that job before I quit it all and sold my stuff and told my parents I'm leaving the country. And they're like, they thought
Oh,
I was joking. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're serious. I'm like, yeah, like I applied and everything. And it takes about a year, or at that time, it took about a year to
mm.
even get past all of the requirements.
Wow. But I mean, having worked for the consulate, you had a kind of international outlook already, I guess. I think this is one of the things where you have that sense of living in a country, but that country is part of a, of a whole world of different countries. Because some people don't have that. I always feel like I've been very much always aware of different cultures around me, and always had a huge map in my room as a child. And so
Yeah.
I was just, I always knew at any moment that I'm in this little part here, but there's so much around me. And
Yeah.
so you're like a kindred spirit. I like that.
And I think also, I mean, if I were to look back as a child, my parents are big foodies, like Filipinos. If you go to any Filipino household, we're like,
I've
what do you,
heard that. Yes.
we'll feed you,
Yeah.
right? And it's so part of our culture, like food is. And so I was exposed to so many different kinds of food when I was a kid, like Middle Eastern food, Filipino food, like all sorts, Japanese, Korean, Thai, the whole gamut of different types of cuisine. And I think that really allowed me or made me more curious about like, oh, there's all these different things I can learn. So thanks,
Yeah. So
parents.
yeah. Right. I mean, there's so much to say for that, and open-minded parents. So I mean, I can imagine you're 22 and they'll be like, "Oh, what? What are you doing now? Are you gonna what is it actually that you're gonna be doing?" And so you went for, did you say 27
Yeah,
months?
yeah. So yeah, 3 months was training and then 2 years actually in your
Hmm.
village
Hmm.
doing community work.
Yeah, wow. And then during that time, did you, obviously you had to think of what's coming, what's next, what are you doing next? And
Yeah,
then
I mean, typical high achiever, overachiever. Before I went to Peace Corps, I went to like an international school, universities uh, conference or like an info session, and I gathered all the pamphlets. I'm like, ooh, let me get one from Columbia, from Harvard, from Georgetown, from American University. And I just gathered all these pamphlets. I'm like, I'm going to bring these with me to Costa Rica because I know that my next step, already
hmm.
thinking of the future, like what's my next step after the Peace Corps? How am I going to position myself for
Hmm.
what's next in my career? So I was already thinking about grad school before I
Yeah,
left.
yeah. Again, I get that totally. Yeah, and then what happened?
Oh gosh. And then life happened and I fell in love with my wife when we were first dating at the passport agency. It's so romantic. And she was on her way to joining the foreign service and I was on my way to joining the Peace Corps. And so
Oh, so you met that early. Wow. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met her when I was, I mean, it was 2006. I met her,
Hmm.
I was 22.
Hmm.
I'm turning 42 this year. So it's
Hmm.
like I'm with her more years than I have not been with her. Like we're gonna reach that part. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I still feel like a 20-year.
Yes. Wow.
And so when I was in the Peace Corps and I was like going through my service, Carol and I we were on and off, but she eventually like came down and visited for a while and learned Spanish there because she was on her way to Venezuela. So she got posted in Venezuela. I thought so. She's Korean American. I thought she would get posted in Korea because she speaks.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, and then I mean after that it was not what I had planned. I joined her in Caracas after the Peace Corps. I came
Hmm.
home for a month and yeah, and then packed my bags again and went on to the next adventure.
Okay. So basically already like following your partner's career in a way
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
putting your plans on hold for a little while, or
For
was it?
love. I mean, I'm such a romantic. I'm also very ambitious and like super high
Yeah.
achiever. But I knew like one of the things that I appreciate about my younger self is that I always went with my gut when I knew that
Yeah.
it was right for me. And I never questioned it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, everyone else around me, like, well, is that the logical thing to do? And I'm like, I don't know, but this is what I'm feeling right. Like I really
Yes.
allowed myself to be led
Love
by the
that.
feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, right? Like you don't know what you don't know until you're there. And so when I was in Caracas, I couldn't get a job. Same-sex marriage in the States was still not legal.
Mm-hmm.
So under that context, even though I had a consular background and I spoke fluent Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
I was on the bottom of the totem pole for any jobs at the embassy. And on top of that, all of the clearances that I had to get in order to even work at the embassy. So it was like hoop over, like just so many. It was the first time in my life that I couldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
There was too much red tape.
Yeah.
And so being the overachiever and coming off the high or being, on cloud nine, serving as a Peace Corps volunteer and like feeling so like fulfilled.
Yeah. Oh God.
I went into a deep depression and I didn't even know that that was possible for me because I had always been like an outgoing, extroverted, just, full of life. And like, I always wanted to go after things. And that year was really, really hard. Like the hardest year just as a young adult and like really understanding who I am, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? I had all these dreams, but like, what does it mean now
Mm-hmm.
that I can't, I can't operate the same way that I would in the US, which is I know how to achieve here. Like I understand the culture,
Mm.
but when you're overseas, it's a different it's just
Yeah.
a game.
I mean, that sounds like a lot, especially when you just said you were following your gut and you like doing things that felt right. And then that must have been a real blow to your self-perception and that like questioning that, should I have thought it through more? Should I have, because I always found along the way, and a lot of things you only realize with hindsight, right? But where you do start questioning your sanity in some ways, and you're like, why did I do this? And why can't I just sit and think logically? And but yeah, so I guess that was a tough one for a
Yeah.
young
Yeah.
kid like yourself. Yeah.
And even though it was hard, what was nice is that I was still going after it the way that I could. So I try to find ways to volunteer. I try to find ways to like,
Mm.
just keep learning and keep growing. And there was a moment where I was able to work, but it was at the tail end of that year. And I was already planning to go to DC and I started listening to podcasts
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting inspired. I'm like, oh, like there's this whole world. And it was right when podcasts were starting.
Yes.
So it really opened up my mind to other possibilities of like, what else, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
So that was, yeah, I can clearly remember because I was doing some admin work and it wasn't intellectually stimulating for me. So I would put my earbuds on
Mm.
and listen and get inspired. But yeah, I mean, after that 1 year in Venezuela, I had all my applications ready to apply for grad school and then I got into Georgetown.
Okay. So, and then what about, were you married at the time
So
yet
at the
or not?
time, no, we weren't married yet. We'd only been dating like 3 years on and
Mm-hmm.
off. But the plan was to get married. And we were just waiting, like, oh, when is this all gonna like, when is the same-sex marriage thing gonna like,
Yeah.
get passed and everything? Because that would enable us to have kids and I wouldn't have to, or she wouldn't have to adopt, we wouldn't have to adopt each other's kids and go through that whole
Mm-hmm.
process.
Yeah.
So yeah, time was on, like, we definitely were born in a time that enabled us to live this life. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wild when I think about it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, we could just go do the thing that we want to do and have a family and live overseas and do all this.
Because like 5 years earlier,
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't have been possible. Or it would have been possible, but it would have been really, really difficult.
yeah. So then you went to DC, you went to Georgetown University.
Yeah, I went to pack my bags and went to DC. Yeah, and had the time of my life as a grad student. I loved being in the city. I loved meeting other students that were, I mean, I'm actually going to have an MSFS. This is my program, Masters of Science in Foreign Service, a little party reunion here at the house. I loved my classmates. They were just the most remarkable humans on Earth. Like they were in the corners of the planet, like learning all these languages and just really interesting people. And yeah, that time in my life was incredibly fulfilling. I got to intern on the Hill. I worked for Senator McCaskill for a quarter, which was amazing. I was like doing tours of the Capitol building. I loved it. I'm like, it's so fun because I get to meet all these different people from the US. I got to learn how the US government worked from the legislative side. And then I worked in international organizations. I went to Indonesia for a summer. I was living in Jakarta and worked the NGO side. So it's like just I got exposed to so much in such a short amount of time. And I'm grateful. And to this day, I'm still in touch with Georgetown alum and everything they're doing. So,
but I also love that you went after having lived and worked in other countries for a while before going to grad school, because I think sometimes, you know, people in some people go straight to grad school after their bachelor's and then just to not miss any time or just to kind of get the whole package, the education package, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
But I always feel like it's so much more, I don't know, worthwhile maybe to wait and to grow a little bit as well.
Yeah,
Because you are a different person, I think, going into school again.
Absolutely. I think it really depends on what career track you're on. Of course, like if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, like you better go straight into that because you're in school for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, do I want to go down those paths? And for me, it was a clear no. Like that's not my path. But what my path is, because I would hear like the JET program, people teaching English in Japan or Korea, or people going abroad for a summer during college. I'm like, that is appealing to me more. That's calling to me more than, oh, let me, you know, go intern at a hospital or I don't know, or get that experience. So again, followed my gut.
And then so you went to grad school, and what about your relationship in that time?
Yeah. Oh, these are like totally going down memory lane. It was good. It was, I mean, Carol had one more year left in Caracas and her plan was to come back to DC. We actually got married. This is so crazy. It's like we got married in the middle of finals. Like he came back just like, hey, let's go get married. And I'm like, okay. So we get married at the DC courthouse. I invite 3 of my Peace Corps friends. She invites 3 of her coworker friends because all our families in California. And at the time, our families were like, my family was okay, but her family wasn't fully accepting relationship. So we're like, oh, let's not deal with the intensity of that. Let's just
keep it small and
small. And then we had Korean barbecue afterwards, and it was the most amazing, amazing wedding, small wedding that we had. And yeah, and so we got married. Carol came back, and then I started working in DC for a government contractor with USAID, which is so crazy because now, I mean, USAID is no longer, but
yeah, insane to think.
It is, and I grew up thinking like, oh, I mean, even in my book when I was writing it, I was like, oh, this is like so old now because now it's not a thing. But I wanted to work in USAID or I wanted to work for the United Nations or an NGO. So yeah, we were living in DC together. So right when I was graduating, or as I was graduating, Carol was going through her IVF process. And so, you know, so it's just like we just packed all the things when we just and it's so good too, because I'm like, I'm so glad we just went for it. Because if we waited or if we hesitated, and I have Carol to thank for this because she was the one that's like, hey, we need to get pregnant now. And I'm like, really? I'm like, wait until I'm done with grad school. Like, I'm not ready for this. But yeah, she got pregnant while I was in my last semester of grad school. And then the kids came in 2013, the twins. And then life got
I mean, it just sounds like, you know, from the outside in, it's just like, what on earth were you thinking of, like in the middle of all this like uncertainty and moving and different. But again, it's being young and sometimes following a gut. And it sounds like you had that was your goal from the start. You knew you really wanted to have a family.
I think what it was that I had so much confidence and trust in Carol in our relationship. Makes me want to tear up because I love her so much. Like she's the best. Beyond Peace Corps, our relationship is the best decision I ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. Yes. Oh, doesn't that feel so good? I mean, I can see it in you. It's just like, this is, you just know this. And so whatever, because there's quite a few more countries that we have to gallop through. But I love how it's really, it's just really like it's so, that certainty, I can see it. I can see it in you.
And, like for the folks that are like beginning this journey or like they're in the middle of it and they're like in the suck of it, like there's so many points in this journey of being overseas and with your family where you question so much like, oh, am I doing the right thing? And in hindsight, you're going to look back and you're like, dang, I was brave. Wow, I did the thing that no one did in my family. Whoa, like I got to see this and do that and raise my kids this way. And so in that way, like there comes a point in your adulthood where you have to stop looking at your own family or the people around you for guidance, and you have to follow your own North Star. Mm-hmm. For me, that was outside of the United States, which is so ironic, right? Like, oh, your parents came as immigrants, you're a first gen, you graduated from UCLA and Georgetown, like, and then you want to leave, right? And it's just like, oh, but that's my dream. That's my American, that I have the opportunity to build the kind of life that I want. And
that is brave, though. It is brave because, and I feel I've been called brave before as well, and I've never ever thought of myself as brave. But then like you said, you have to find it in yourself what your calling is, and especially when that is very different to your parents' experience and sometimes that's the hard thing, isn't it? To be you want outside guidance, but it could be also very limiting. And it's not even like you question your own decisions all the time. I mean, that's part of living a global life. I think you just this is like I don't want to say every day, but certainly there's a lot of questioning. But when you then have to deal with the questioning from the outside world and people saying, are you sure you want to do that? And then, oh my God, it's a lot to deal with. So to have a relationship and to know that you can trust your partner to, you're doing this together. I mean, that's amazing. And that's, so absolutely. I love this.
It's exactly that. You're doing it together. And I think
always.
So it's
no decisions are made by just one person. And sometimes, yes, it is and this is the lot of the trailing spouse. And as much as I loathe the expression, but there's always, the decision is prompted by one, but it's never made by just one person, because otherwise it wouldn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, Steph, this term trailing spouse, before I used to like really, really not like it. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm still trailing spouse. I still don't like the term, but I realize that in claiming it and owning it and being empowered in it, it empowers others, and it starts to shift the narrative around what that is and what that could be. And so part of like what I'm doing and, what you're doing too, right, is to demonstrate like, it's not just like, oh, you're just a sad person at home. Like you can actually build a very creative, fulfilling experience, having this global life. And what a gift we have to do it. So,
So I really like that you're still using the term as well. And in your, what you're doing now as well. And you actively talking about this, because there's all this, oh, don't say that, use a different expression, and yes, that's fine. Find, there's the trailing, there's the what do they call it? The pioneering spouse and the trailblazing, not the trailing, the trailblazing spouse and all that. And that's all great, but it's finding the power in that term as well. So really like that.
And I recognize that, giving visibility to it. That's the goal. It's like visibility to this space because it's wide ranging. Like I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many more spouses out there than we realize because the economy is global. So it's normalizing, this experience is not just your own, like millions of people around the world are experiencing it. And the more that we can talk about it, the more empowered we can be in making the best choices for ourselves moving forward.
It doesn't, it's because even if you're trailing doesn't mean that you are lagging behind.
Exactly. Yes.
And that is the big thing. It's like there's nothing wrong with trailing. I hate that it's become this negative. It has all these negative connotations because there is so much you can do while you trail.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I know. My wife is like, when are you going to be? When can I be the training spouse? She always asks us at a certain point. She was like, Dom, do you want to be the diplomat? And I was like, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, like that would be fun. But it was, and then we had all the children. It's like, how about all the children?
Yeah. Let's go back to the children. So your children were born in DC?
Yeah, they were born in DC. At a time,
but you didn't stay there long, right? And
we stayed in DC for about 8 months.
Yeah.
8-9 months. And then Carol and this was at a time when our foreign policy was around Pakistan, Afghanistan. Carol told me a long time ago, she's like, hey, in this career, like I will eventually have to do a hard posting, which we can't take the family. So yeah, Carol got posted in Pakistan. And she said, hey, we're going to be okay financially. And that was not the first time, but the second time that I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job, move back to California, raise the twins. They were 1 at the time, have my mother-in-law as a support. And then my parents were nearby, but not super close. And then so I spent a year without Carol, which was the hardest year of my adult life so far.
I can imagine. And being a new mom as well. And then, and twins. And,
overachiever.
Yeah. But I mean, you knew at that time that it wasn't gonna be a forever posting. It was gonna, she was gonna come back, and
it was 1 year. And Carol's 4 years older than me, and she, from a financial standpoint, like she's always planning. And on my side, from a financial standpoint, I'm not planning. I was always thinking about like, I need to get more education. And when I made that decision to go to Georgetown, which is a big bill, in terms of tuition, Carol was saying like, well, we have your Georgetown loans. She's like, I know it's going to be hard, but she had the foresight and the wisdom to say like, let's pay this all off so we can go live, and have more choices as the kids are growing. So when she was in Pakistan, we were under her income, and then we were able to pay off that year.
Yeah,
so.
Amazing. That's something also for like the global listeners. It's the reality of US Americans going to school. And some people will have to pay off their loans until they're in their 40s and maybe even later. It's something you need to plan for. And that's, hit us when we first moved to the US, and we hadn't, our kids were 7 and 3 when we first came, and people were like, well, we've been saving for 7 years already for college. And we were like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's just to throw that in case people don't know what that actually means. But that is a huge reason to take a well-paid job, even if it makes family life difficult, or that's part of it. Okay. And then Carol came back, and then what happened next?
Carol
just trying to stay with the timeline.
Oh, yeah. So Carol came back, but before she came back, I was like tinkering with entrepreneurship and, trying to start my own business around, I was trying to bring like NGOs around the world together. Big vision, but like I had zero practical skills. I just had the vision, but not the skills. And it was my first stint at entrepreneurship. I got what was crazy about it is that I got into like conferences on scholarships because I was like describing what I was doing, like, oh yeah, we'll give you a scholarship. I'm like, really? I'm like, that's amazing. And for the first time I realized like, oh, if I just go and ask, the worst thing that can happen is no. And I wasn't working at the time. And this was also the time that I started my personal growth, personal development journey as a new mom, redefining what success is, really like digging deep into who am I now and who do I want to become? Because I've checked all the boxes, literally married, kids. We have a home in DC. You know, I went to these great schools. I did all these great internships. So what do I want now that I have everything that I planned for? And so that was a big, that year, 2014 to 2015, that year that Carol was gone in Pakistan, it started this whole journey that I'm on now. Like it started way back then.
But I just love, you're such a, I love the overachiever bit of it because, you know, rather than just being a new mom and just kind of embracing that or doing the new mom thing, you're already thinking, okay, how can I have other people, how can I help other people knowing what I know now, what I'm learning right now? How can I package that so that I can help other people? That's a very entrepreneurial way of thinking.
But I didn't know that I would help people yet at this point. I was helping myself.
Okay, so you were just kind of working through it, but doing it in a way that,
yeah, because I had like an identity crisis again, like my second identity crisis. First one was in Caracas, but I knew how to solve that, go to school.
Yep.
You know, being a mom and like not having a full career identity or profession, because that's going to shift and change depending on where Carol goes. And I don't know what languages they're going to speak at these, like our future was unwritten. So, I mean, it was this time that I really opened up to what could life be like if I had my own business, even though I didn't know how to do a business. The idea of it, again, right? Feeling my gut, it was calling me.
So you just knew you had to do something.
Yeah.
And because you're someone who loves learning,
yes,
it's and building a business and even thinking, how do I do that? It's just, you need that. That's in you. I mean, that from what I hear is just like, you have to use your experience and do something with it.
Absolutely.
That's very much the underlying thing. And so that is, I guess, something you can't learn in business school, but you have to have that sort of sense of, I want to do something, even if you're not sure what it is yet.
And I love that. I love this part of the conversation because it's bringing to the surface the gift that my parents gave me. Am I going to get emotional again? I'm like, oh gosh. Yeah. Because my parents didn't have a clear roadmap for me here in America, I had to figure it out myself. And the beauty of that is there were no conditions. There were no, you have to do it this way. It was just, you have to go do it. And I took that on as like, I'm going to go do it. Even to this day, like even this business, I'm still going to go do it because it's innate in me to go learn, to go figure out, because I didn't have role models. I didn't have someone telling me, well, Dom, if you want to go down this path, these are the steps. So I'm literally taking, that's why I love learning, because I don't know what I don't know. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Like that, like great. So I think even my upbringing, with immigrant parents, it made me more entrepreneurial, period, because I had to learn. I had to figure this out for myself. I had to figure out how to get into college. I wasn't going to ask my parents, how do I get into UCLA? Like I did my research. Yeah. And then you go do it. It's like, oh, I could do this thing, or like, oh, I could do Peace Corps. Like, oh, I could, and so I think that built the resilience and the adaptation and just the certainty and the confidence that I have in myself to go figure things out.
Yeah. So I just feel like your parents must have instilled that in you somewhere in there. And sometimes I feel like parents can be such cheerleaders, but they can also be, I don't want to say limiting, but it just sounds like you did what you felt you had to do, and then just kept doing it without anyone.
And I saw my parents struggle financially
Mm.
and work paycheck, like just work and work and work and work. And so when I saw that, I knew for myself the way out of this type of
Yeah.
environment is to get educated. Like
Yeah.
that was the narrative. And then also my mom is so awesome. She's amazing. You would love her. She always said, like, even when things were really hard, like we went through bankruptcies and like just really hard financial stuff growing up. She said, just be positive, like be positive. Like that was like her motto, be positive. I'm like, okay, mom, got it, be positive. And I really took that with me. And so no matter what happened in my life, like how can I see the good in this, even though it hurts, even though it's painful, because the other direction, it's going to get me into inaction and stuckness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't, yeah, that I cannot see you being like stuck or getting to a point where you're just,
Oh.
yeah. I just feel like your mind is not going to let you go there.
It's taken many decades to train it that way. It's like, okay, let's go.
Well, it sounds like you're preparing yourself for something that you don't know yet.
I hope so. I realize the hardships that we go through, we just don't know. Like anything that we go through, it's there for a reason. It's there to edify us. It's there to teach us. It's there to give us strength when we feel like we're weak. And in that moment when I mean you're the second podcast that I've done looking back at that time in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so I'm coming from such a different place now because I'm more grounded in who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that I know what the future is going to hold, but I know what I'm capable of.
Yeah. And
And
you
I
can only know this because you've gone
I've
through
gone
all
through it.
those times. And also you went through those times not knowing what you know now. Because when you start doubting or you're like, oh God, why did I do it that way? That was so stupid. Or if I could do it again, I would do it completely differently because I know now. But then you know that because you didn't know and because you just did what you could at the time, that's it's a journey. It's just, and sometimes I feel like I wouldn't do half of the things I did because if I had known too much, then I would never have been brave enough or stupid enough or
Exactly. And I think it's that not knowing that that's it's the not knowing what could happen. I think that's the beauty of where we get to bring our full essence into it, because then we get to shape it. And I think
yeah,
a lot of folks, when they see someone else like struggle or they see someone else do that, think, oh no, I can't do that. So you stop before you even
yeah.
start. And so giving yourself permission, like, I'm going to go
Mm-hmm.
into this country. I'm going to learn this new
Mm-hmm.
language. I'm going to learn how to navigate this, and I'm going to be okay with it. And I think that like having that built into the global lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
capable of anything,
Mm-hmm.
because you have that willingness to learn and that openness to learn. And so that's one of the secret skills, not even secret, it's a skill that we all build, and that maybe we don't realize that we have it, right? Because it's
Yeah.
just automatic now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it's beautiful when you can share that with
Mhm.
others, because then it's so much easier to spot it in other people and in
Yeah,
other situations. But yeah, it comes at a price. So yeah, so let's
absolutely.
carry on the global journey, because so Carol came back from Pakistan, and
Yes.
I mean that again, that must have been also difficult then, because you've been basically a single parent more or less for a
Yeah.
while, and then
Yeah. I think so. Carol came back from Pakistan, and it's interesting to see how experiences reshape you. So when she wasn't there and I was doing everything with the kids, it's like I got into my own rhythm and
of
my own.
course you do. Yeah.
So like this is how we do things, because that's how I was surviving. And I didn't recognize how much pent up energy and emotion and sadness and anger and frustration and loneliness. And oh, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh gosh, I'm like going down and
Yeah.
isolation that I felt in
Mm-hmm.
that context. And I was the first of my friends to have kids. So everyone around me didn't have kids. And I'm like, I'm going through this thing alone again. Um, when she came back, she suggested, she's like, hey, Dom, there's this like, partners of, when you've been apart for so long, like there's this workshop. She's like, I think you should go to it. And I'm like, what workshop is this? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm angry, right? And I don't realize that I have all these emotions. And then she's like, oh, like, you should just go to this workshop. I'm like, okay. And so I go to this workshop, and there's a psychologist that specifically supports spouses of military or foreign service when they're coming back together. And it was wild because I'm like, oh, I didn't realize, because you don't know what you don't know. That I was feeling all of this, right? I was internalizing, like being that first gen, kid in America, like I'm internalizing all of these emotions because there's nowhere to share it. Like, who do I even share it to? Is that even an option to share it to somebody? So Carol comes back. I have my breakdown, but also my breakthrough. I read this book by Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. He's a positive psychologist at Harvard, I believe, and the book was called The Pursuit of Perfect. And it was like me to a T. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And what was interesting was that what I learned about myself is that I never celebrated my successes. I was always seeking more achievement externally. So I never fully internalized that I'm a successful person.
Well, it's easy to leave that out because of the way we live, the way our society is run. And it's very easy to kind of put yourself on the back burner in a way where you're seeing everybody else's achievements and successes, but it's something that comes with hindsight again.
Exactly. And it's the narrative, right? Like, oh, if you go to this school, then you get this corner.
Oh yeah.
You have this title, but now that I look in retrospect, like excuse my language, I'm a badass mom.
Yeah.
I am so, like, my kids are going to be so prepared for the future because I've taught them all the things that I'm learning as I'm learning it. And, and that's such a gift for them to have a mom that's present and to have a mom that's going after her dreams.
Yeah.
And to have another mom that's, working in the office. Like, they get to see both.
Yeah.
And I mean, that to me is really, I never thought as a 20 something that is what success is. But now looking in hindsight, Carol and I, we've built a life and a lifestyle and also a legacy with our kids that demonstrate like we went after it, even though we didn't have a roadmap, even though no one was cheering us on along the way.
Did someone say that to you or something to that effect? Or was that a realization that just hit you more recently?
Yeah, this is a great question. And thank you for asking it. You're so good. You're so good. When we came back to the States, we had been overseas for 8 years. We were not here during the pandemic. We were not here during like just all those things. So for 8 years, we were overseas, and then we came back in 2025. And what a year it was. And it was a time when like literally all our stuff from all of these different countries came to this new house. We thought that we were going to go overseas again, but it started this process for me to integrate. And I'm like, okay, now that I know what I know, I need to integrate all the lessons that I've learned and really look at all the parts that I'm really proud of for the family. And I never did, because I kept, when you're moving overseas, you just keep going and going and going and going.
And for the listeners, so we're talking in between those years, you were in Peru, South Korea, and Australia.
Australia, yes.
So
and we added a baby in there, right? So Juliet was born in Peru. So like when you're in that stage, you're a parent.
You're busy.
Kids under 10. Yeah, you're busy.
You're very busy, and it's very easy also to fill your time with practicalities and logistics.
Yeah.
Because you have to, but also it feels like it fills the void that might come up. And you're probably aware of that, but and as a mom, oh my God, it's so easy to you can fill every second of the day with something, and it's never enough. And so you might not even know that there is a void.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is just so busy, and taking the time to reflect and taking the time to really see and to really celebrate the life that you've lived and the years that you've lived and the adventures you've had. Of course, there's hardship all in between that. I mean, that's life, right? And, being overseas really creates more complexity. But I think a lot of what we need to do as partners and spouses and everyone that lives this lifestyle is, really take into account like how amazing you are and that you went, how brave you are and how courageous it is to leave the comforts of your own country to go live another place, to go build in another place. Like I think, that may be the new, what is it, the beyond earth, right? I mean, maybe it's space, but this is the new kind of freedom.
Yeah.
You get to live and create and build your life and your family around the values that you truly want to build through. And yeah, I wouldn't have had this perspective if we didn't come back to the States, because we have just been kept going. And when I look at who we were when we left and who we were when we came back, so much growth.
I love that you're saying this so much because, I mean, this is it's not just the United States with that approach. It's all the Western societies. It's all this achieving. You have the degrees, you get the positions, you kind of, your value, you feel your value is only as high as whatever you have achieved on the, that checklist that everyone seems to have, the house and the car and this job and this promotion and this and that. And especially right now here in the US, you can see that it's not working anymore. This is not how the future generations will not. This is not, it's done. It's not working anymore. And so we have to go back to what is it that makes us valuable as human beings. And that's why I love that you're saying all this is building a family and installing values and talking about human nature. And we are all valuable just by being. And it's so easy to forget that. And I feel like the last, 50 years, it's always just that drive to kind of make yourself someone by adding all these labels. And now it's run its course. If we carry on like this, we're all doomed. I mean, it sounds very dramatic, but I really feel that so much. And we have to come back to this inherent value that we have and that we can bring.
Yeah. And the system that's not working anymore, I think what it needs, it's not like a huge shakeup, like where institutions have to blow things, like everything has to blow up. But what it is, it's awakening. And this is for all your listeners, awaken to the part of you that has always wanted to be expressed. And when you do that in the context of living overseas, and I said this to another expat friend, when you're overseas, the rules don't apply to you. You get to create your own game. And that's what's so liberating about it. And also very scary, right? It's like, well, if I don't know what the structure is, how do I operate in it? Well, here's the golden piece of wisdom. You get to operate in it however you want to, based on what is true to you, what's authentic to you. And then you get to play in that culture and see what's going to vibe with you or not. Bringing in all of your experiences from your passport country and then all of the experiences that you have from other countries. Because then it makes you more whole, because you see the gamut of all different kinds of styles, and what's important here is not important there.
Yeah.
I can think about Australia and Peru and Korea, all these different countries, different things are important in different places. But what I love about it is that humans are the same everywhere. They just want to feel connected. They want to belong. They want to eat good food, and they want to enjoy life. And that's, that comes in all of its different forms, right? Based on culture. But what a better way to find yourself by getting lost overseas.
And I always ask myself, I wonder if you feel the same. Sometimes I wonder if it's easier for people like ourselves who have lived in various cultures to peel back the layers. Is it easier or is it more difficult? It's almost like you said, you have to, the parameters are different, the rules don't apply. You have to figure out things that you never thought you'd have to think about. And so sometimes I wonder if that makes it maybe easier. I don't know.
I believe, I believe it's easy and hard, right? It's both. It's like it's a mix, right? It depends on your personality and like
Mm.
what you're up for and whatnot. But what I love about living overseas is that it forces you to confront your own belief system.
Yeah.
Period.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you
Confront
have to
it.
peel back all the layers until you get right to the core.
Absolutely. Like I'll give a
It
clear
forces you. Yeah.
I'll give a really quick example. I remember when I was going into Costa Rica, I had studied women's studies and like I had this like gender thing around like, oh, women need more opportunities and men need to give more opportunities. But when I was in Costa Rica in the context of a village that were farmers, everyone had a role and it worked. And who am I to judge this thing, this system? Because when you take that system and you place it on a modern society where
Mm-hmm.
everything is and it becomes too complex, then it doesn't work because there's just too much now.
Mm-hmm.
It's too complicated. So I think in that way, like going overseas, it challenges us in our belief system and what we think is right or wrong. And it's like, oh, maybe there is another way. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
And that's why then coming back to a society that you used to live in, like you said, after all those years away, you
yeah.
came back to the US. It's much
I'm
more
I'm an
glaring.
alien.
It's much more glaring, right? When you do.
Yeah.
That's why they say also repatriation is the hardest hardest move of all
It is.
because
I didn't realize how hard it would be.
no, no,
And
yeah,
it's like, and I'm a veteran like traveler. Like I travel a lot with the kids and coming back, this was hard. It was hard
yeah.
because I'm no longer the same Dom that I was when I left. And also seeing just how much the country has changed. I yeah, I don't know. It is hard. But yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you been back now? So the last one was Australia, is that right? You were in
Yes.
Australia before coming back here?
Yeah. So we were in Australia for 3 years. So just to jump back, we were in Peru. We were in Peru. We had our third child. I actually became a diplomat when we were in Peru because I'm like, let me try this full time and see what that's like. And that was a great experience, but it wasn't going to align with how we wanted to live our lives moving forward. So
Mm-hmm.
go to Korea. This was late 2018. And then I start my next business, which is like, let me be a coach. I literally was introducing myself. I'm a success coach, even though I didn't even know what that meant yet for people because I was testing. But I did workshops and really started to build my business from scratch, kind of fumbling into it, getting clients, and having an opportunity to speak for the US Embassy during the pandemic, which was not in my plan, but it happened. I happened to be in the right place at the right
Mm-hmm.
time, and I had a presence online, and so someone from the embassy saw me on Facebook, I think, doing videos around like the 5 keys to happiness. Um, yeah, and what a time in South Korea because that led me to believe like, oh, I can actually have a business that I can take with me and that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have to keep restarting over and over. And then you don't know what you don't know. When we were in Australia, I'm like, I feel like I'm starting over again.
Well, like yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's always the everything that's around that and the new way of doing things. And I guess, a portable business it sounds really, really cool on paper, but the reality of it is it depends on what it is you're doing as well. But I'm guessing a lot of the things you did in South Korea, you were drawing from your people who were around you as well. And then you had to start from scratch in Australia.
Yes. Yeah. Different operating environment, different vibe after the pandemic. Like it was just, and the world was just opening up again. So I felt like a failure, like, oh, should I just close this thing down? Like, do I keep going? And it's, again, the self-doubt, right? Like, do I even know what I'm doing? Even though I was successful already, like having clients. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but what reaffirmed for me doing the work that I do now is it inspires so many people to do the work on themselves. Not that I have all the answers, like this is how you live a trailing spouse life. Like I'm not trying to be that person. But what this experience offers is a different perspective into your becoming, into your identity. and that it's never your story's never finished. You always get to write the next chapter, and that chapter you could like, I mean, not throw out everything else, but you can literally change today if you chose to. Just takes one choice. I'm going to be different today. I'm going to take that.
There's one of my favorite quotes is I'm blanking on the name. I'm going to have to insert that later and make it sound like I knew. But it's never too late to be what you could have been. I love that so much.
Yeah. That's a great quote, because this is the beauty of being overseas, is that there is no clear roadmap. You get to go do things and try things because you can, and why not?
Yes, beautiful. Well, I mean, we skipped huge chunks of countries and everything, but I think we got to the essence of it. So you could just stay in the US now, but you're not. You're adding another adventure.
Yeah. So we got a posting, or Carol got a posting in Suva in Fiji. And so we're packing our bags up literally in 2 months, and we're leaving our home here in Virginia to take the family overseas again. And what a thing.
What a thing. I mean, that's wow. And how old are your kids now? Just
the twins are 12 and the little one is 9. And so, yeah, and this is a crazy thing too, as you're raising a family, like everyone changes, like everything is changing all the time.
Yeah.
And so bringing them into this new chapter of their lives, their youth, and then also for me and Carol. But this is our happy place, being in motion and seeing new things and trying new foods out and cultures. So next time we chat, we'll probably be in Fiji.
Yes, and that's going to be a like completely different environment, even from a weather and logistics and houses and everything. I mean, that's very different.
It'll be the most remote place that we've ever lived in, except for my Peace Corps service in Costa Rica. I think that's Fiji with a family is, I'll let you know how it goes.
Yes, I can't wait to. I know you can run your business from there. And do you want to briefly talk about your business, or should we just? I'm going to put everything in the show notes, but it's up to you if you want to. If people wanted to get in touch with you and. I'm
on LinkedIn, Dominique Narciso Kim, and Instagram. And I also have a book called Live Your New Story. Can I show it here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I have a book here. This is the book I wish I had when I first started this journey.
I love it. That was going to be my next question. If there was anything, you could send yourself at a point where you were lost, that book would have been it.
Oh my gosh. This is what I would put in my care package, because it would at least help guide me in my thinking, and that because when I was in it, I thought I was crazy. And I'm like, am I crazy right now? Like, what are you talking about? Like losing your sanity? Because I'm like, who am I when I don't know who I am and no one knows me? It's so jarring. And to know now that I have this book, even I'm reading my own book for my next transition. It's like,
absolutely. And this is the crazy thing, isn't it? Yeah. You do find yourself asking yourself the same questions and questioning your sanity. And you're like, oh, and then you kind of, sometimes I find myself like, what am I doing? I'm back to where I was 10 years ago. What is going on? And then I have to have a stern word with myself and be like, hang on. So
it's so true. And this idea of our identities shifting and evolving, we're also constantly learning, if we choose to, and if we're ready for it, and if we allow it, we're learning the lessons that we've needed to learn many years ago, maybe right now in the present, that we just didn't quite learn yet, or we haven't let go of something yet, or we haven't acknowledged something because we're scared to. So it's this deepening of awareness, self-awareness that this experience.
And then just as much as we do kind of go back to certain points, I kind of catch myself sometimes solving something differently or reacting differently. And I'm like, oh, here's me learning something.
Right?
Learned this. And then I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah, I love it. For folks that are in the journey, that are experiencing all the ups and downs, I'm actually doing something new that I've never done before. I'm documenting 200 days of what it's like to do the international transition. So from here in Virginia all the way to Fiji, and just sharing like, this is what it's like, if anyone wondered.
I love it. And so that's kind of a very raw moment each day. So you're doing this like every day?
Every day.
Amazing.
Yeah, every day. And just sharing what it's like, especially after having gone through it many times. It's still hard. It's not easy.
Couple more just lighthearted questions to end with. And this seems I always ask this, and then now I'm thinking this is really silly because clearly, yes. Are you learning anything right now?
Oh my gosh, of course I am. Of course I am.
That's why I was like, this is such a stupid question to ask you, because you're basically learning constantly anyway. But is there anything like completely different that you're learning right now?
Yeah, so one of the pieces that I've been very, very resistant to, like my whole life, has been learning about money and really understanding it and being with it and understanding my relationship to it, because being financially dependent, and then also not having a clear path to income, especially if you're adjusting your professional life to your partner's, that for me has been a real deep pain point. And I realized and learned that it's not just about me building a business, it's about having a sense of self-worth that I've tied to money. And so I'm doing the work on myself and also learning, the practicalities of financial literacy, but then also the psychology of money, because that's, I think, what's going to be the leading, my next edge in terms of how I teach and how I support spouses and expats overseas. And then, whenever that audience gets broader.
Amazing. That's when I'm going to have to book with you, because that is on my list of things. Yeah. The money thing is, and it's something, and it's a big elephant in the room, because I've felt this for years and I haven't addressed it. I've always found other things to do instead, and it's a huge lack of knowledge that I very urgently need to address, and it's a whole other topic, but and I would love to do an episode on finances especially for trailing spouses. I would love to yes, because I feel like there are a few people who work precisely in that area, in that field, and I just feel like it's a huge one, because oh my God, the amount of, including myself, people who just hand over the financial reins because it's just easier in the moment, and then never regain that sense of autonomy. So that's another, let's earmark that for at some point, because absolutely. I feel like this is something that is so essential. And it's like so many people, including myself, just want to kind of put their head in the sand and
step, like, to give it, and for the listeners that are feeling this, and I just want to share this, because I wish someone had shared this with me when I was going through just the shame and the guilt, is that learning about money is a skill. Like, we can learn how to do that. Your emotional relationship to money, that is a whole different part of the work. And so I leave that there, because everyone comes into their relationship with money differently, and that it's a very sensitive topic, but this is the key to understanding your full potential. Like, that's what I truly believe. And, be it that through business or really just understanding your finances, this is the next phase of my mission to help, trailing spouses and expat spouses and accompanying partners really gain that confidence in themselves, not to only be themselves, but to make the kind of money that
I love it. I love it also because it's, I know the amount of shame and guilt that comes with it. And it's not a topic that especially women like to talk about because of the shame and the, oh my God, I'm the only one. Everyone around me has their shit together and they know how to. And then you're like, actually, no, and I know it's not the case, but everyone is just too, I don't, and I'm the first in line to say, I'm not good with numbers, which is very true, but it's not an excuse. It doesn't mean I can't get there, right?
Because we can learn. And, so that's what I'm learning.
Agreed. Lovely. Well, perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for taking the time talking to me, and good luck with the next leg on your journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dom, for this uplifting conversation and for giving us a new perspective of this horrible term, trailing spouse, and for reminding me how much I love being an international person with lots of different places to call home. I forget that sometimes. The quote I mentioned towards the end, and of course I misquoted, it's actually, "It is never too late to be what you might have been," is attributed to Victorian novelist George Eliot. And because I looked her up, I found two other quotes I love that I want to share with you. One is, "It will never rain roses. When we want to have more roses, we must plant more roses." Genius advice, absolutely. And, "It is always fatal to have music or poetry interrupted." I love this one. If you feel inspired by our conversation, please tell us. Also, reach out to Dom, book a session with her. I know she'll be in moving mode and has paused her workshops for the time being, but you can still contact her, and also make sure to follow her Diary of a Trailing Spouse on LinkedIn for the real-time, gritty reality of an international move. Dom does this with a great amount of humor, and, well, I've had the pleasure of talking to her quite a bit, so I'm partial. But I think it was pretty obvious in this last hour or so what a warm and empathetic person she is. And that is it for today. I'm off traveling again if the travel gods are in favor. And so, take care and see you next time.